Hey, will you help me carry some stuff back to the greenhouse? Sweet Maya.
Our first rose.
Yeah, our first rose is open. Also, I'm gonna have to prune that.
Oh, you don't want like shimmying through?
Well, I don't mind shimmying, but when I invite guests over to the garden,
it pokes their eye out.
well, that's the danger. It is a pretty close call. You do have to go through it sideways. But look up there, guys, the first rose. This is about to be a great display of beauty. Oh, it makes me so sad to cut it back.
Well, that or poke your eye out.
All right, here's the final result of the freeze. Definitely got some damage, but the plants I think are gonna just keep on kicking. And actually over here in the cottage garden, I was worried about all of the volunteer things over here. And you can see all my volunteer cosmos definitely sustained some damage, but I think that most of them will still live. And the dahlias definitely got some damage, but there's still enough green that I think they'll be fine. Good news, huh, Bear? And look at this. In a very short while, we're gonna be awing at this beauty. It's even begun in some places. I'm really excited for my roses. All right, I've been hardening these plants off, but we have some very heavy days of rain this weekend. It rained all day today, and I didn't want to plant everything out if we were gonna be having wind and rain. At least not in the places where the wind and rain will affect it. So I'm having Maya help me carry a couple of trays. I'm gonna take a couple of trays of my determinate tomatoes back to the high tunnel, and I'm gonna go ahead and start planting those today. That'll at least get some of this done, because planting all of these is gonna be a bit of a task. And they'll be protected under the cover of the high tunnel. Are you laughing at me? Jeremiah's laughing at the acrobatics I'm doing over here to hold this big heavy camera out while holding this tray of tomatoes.
You only got 2 hands.
Hey, I'm using them both to their fullest. See, I want to get super zealous and just load the wagon down, but I've only got about an hour and a half until dark. I don't think I can actually feasibly plant that many. Hey, will you grab that spade right there? Grab that shovel, please. Into the lovely high tunnel garden. All right. Actually, I can't put that there. We're about to put something there. Let me set it right there. Thank you. And can you help me with one more thing? Mm-hmm. I want to take that trellis that's down there down and reuse that panel into the T-post and put an arch right here at the entryway to grow cucumbers.
Do you want me to use zip ties?
Yeah, that's fine. I had hoped to shoot a garden tour to put up instead of this video, but the weather is not cooperating. It's been rainy and it's super windy, and even now it just started drizzling again. This is one of my favorite things about having a high tunnel, is that I still have gardening to do even whenever it's raining outside. You may remember a couple weeks ago I decided to do an experiment, and I took a bunch of little determinate tomato seedlings and sowed them out here directly, and some of them died. Most of them recovered. That's some sort of brassica. And as you can see, I've got these little seedlings. Probably won't do that again. I think these kind of struggled. They got a little damage from the frost. So I'm going to fill in some of these spaces with started plants. And it just so worked out that the ones right here on the front died, and I had forgotten when I planted these that I was going to do an arch right there, so that was a benefit. I'm planting all determinate tomatoes in the high tunnel this year. Last year I did indeterminates, and I used cattle panel trellises, and the tomatoes reached almost the roof before they kind of fell over and started making their way back down. Someday I would like to practice with a lower and lean method, because I do think that's really, really cool. I think that's a very effective method and can be a very economical way of doing things. I am choosing not to do that this year. Check out this sage in bloom. Is this not absolutely stunning? Bear, would you like to go out back and smell of the pigs and eat the compost? Live your best life, boy. The other benefit of growing determinate tomatoes, and the reason why I'm choosing to do that this year, is that you don't prune determinate tomatoes like you do indeterminates. And for the lower and lean method, not all cases, but in most cases, you are pruning those down to a single or a double leader, meaning you're pruning all the side shoots off and you're pretty much just having one or two main stems of tomatoes. And it's actually a very common way of doing things in a high tunnel, and for a reason. I'm sure it is one of the most effective. I decided to do the determinates. One of the varieties my friend Jill from Whispering Willow Farm, she grew last year and really liked them. She grew them in a high tunnel. They produced a lot. And then a few of the other varieties are from seeds that viewers sent me, and they're all determinate varieties. So for those of you who might not know this, an indeterminate tomato plant is a plant that grows and produces an indeterminate amount of blossoms. It grows an indeterminate amount. Basically, as long as you continue to nourish that plant, protect it, and give it support, it's just gonna keep growing. And in some cases where people who obviously know what they're doing are doing lower and lean methods, tomato plants can get like crazy tall, like 20 feet. I've heard of them getting that tall. Now, in a home garden, with someone who might be dealing with blight, or, you know, like maybe lazes off at the end of the season and doesn't keep supporting it, or whatever happens, it's still very common to have 10 to 12 foot tomato plants that are indeterminate varieties. And with an indeterminate variety, the way I do it is I usually prune those down, and I'll continue to do that up in my front garden for this gardening season. But that is very time consuming. Like pruning plants, you really want to stay on top of it. You want to keep them tied to the trellis. And I decided that it would be beneficial for me this year, because of some life changes that we are in the throes of, to do determinate plants. I hear a determinate plant grows a determined height, puts off a determined amount of blossoms, and when it sets its fruit and finishes its harvest, it's done. The benefit of a determinate is that they're really good for containers. They are good for like patio settings where you might not have the space to grow a massive plant, and many determinate varieties are early producers, so they are plants that you're going to get fruit from sooner. Now, they're still going to have to be staked, they're still going to have to be given support, but they're not going to become massive. And also, you don't prune them, because with an indeterminate, you prune them, you give up a lot of the blossoms in pruning them, but they keep growing taller, so you still end up getting a lot of fruit. With a determinate plant, if you prune it down to a single stem, you just get half the food. So I don't want to do that. So that sage was beautiful, but check this calendula out. Now the blossoms are all looking kind of closed up because we're getting to the end of the day. They open a lot wider throughout the day. These were open a lot wider even when I was out here about an hour and a half ago. This plant just amazes me. So lovely. So about those life changes that I mentioned, we will be premiering a video this coming Tuesday, April 27th, which is the 7-year anniversary of us moving to this property. And we will be sharing with you guys what's next for us. We're going to be unveiling that and giving you a lot of the information, a lot of the things you've been asking for. We were waiting for everything to be solidified. We were waiting to talk to our family and the people who obviously deserve to hear from this from us rather than watching it on YouTube. We're really excited to share. So I'm not 100% sure of the exact timing of that. It will be in the evening on April 27th. We will make sure that we post the time, and we'll have the premiere up. So keep an eye out for that coming up. I'm still editing the video, is why it's not already showing as listed. We'll have to get it edited and uploaded, and then you'll be able to set the reminder and join us for that premiere. So we'll be on chatting with you guys as you're able to watch the video live of us unveiling what's next for Roots and Refuge Farm. Good job, Sweet Maya. You want me to grab this? All right, let's do it. Oh, Sweet Maya. It was coming over on me. Good job, Maya. This is hard to do with the camera. I'm committed now. I can't set anything down and it's all gonna come crashing. If you happen to be new here and you have not seen the video where Maya and I show how to put up an arched trellis made of a cattle panel, I'll link it down below. It's one of our most popular videos. We still love this. Supplies have gone up since we first made that video. Everything has gone up in price, any sort of, you know, building materials at all. But it's still a pretty frugal way to do this.
And looks cool.
And it looks cool. Which is precisely why I want to put it right in the entryway, the high tunnel, just because I think it'll be really pretty when you're coming in this space and it's full of life, all the lush green plants, just having that nice covered arch to walk through. And it's also a good support because I did want to try growing some cucumbers that are specifically bred to not need pollination, and they're good for high tunnel growing, and I want to try them in here. Well, hey, since you're here, you want to help us with something?
Sure.
All right.
I don't know. He probably doesn't have the muscles for this.
Oh my gosh,
That is
friends,
true.
a lovely assistant,
No.
just sweet Jackson, my
Jackson.
little baby angel. He's so handsome.
I was called out here.
On accident.
So
On
I
accident.
heard a kid come on the back porch and say hello. So I texted Jackson and said, "Hey, were you looking for me, or did you call me? I'm in the high tunnel." And so he ran out here because he thought I said,
Come out here.
"I tried to call you." No. Well, since you're here, you want to help us put this arch up
Yeah, sure.
with your muscles? Hercules.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for your help, bro.
No problem.
That soil is really loose. This feels so tall, and I was like, why is this so tall? But these beds are deeper. Like,
Yeah, they're off the ground.
yeah, this is like several inches taller than our others. This soil is loose, and in really loose soil like this, in a lot of cases, it might be good to put 2 T-posts on each side. All my other arches have 1 T-post per side, and even in like very high winds, you know, we get tornado type weather, we've never had one fall down or anything like that, even fully covered with food. But the soil there is a little more compacted in those beds. It's just been in there a lot longer. These beds are a lot looser. I don't feel like we need to add an extra T-post on either side because this is covered. And so I don't feel like this is gonna be trying to withstand any crazy winds or anything like that. I think this will be fine. Maya just went, we're just gonna attach these with some zip ties on either side to secure them. And that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start planting my tomato plants while he goes to get those zip ties. And I probably need to go grab some cucumber seeds and get these sown. Now, I don't have a ton of light, and I am just gonna get this done. So I'm not gonna do a ton of instructing while I do this. Put in my headphones, listen to some music. I do have a video showing how I plant tomatoes and why. I'll also link that down below. So if you're looking for instruction, I will point you in that direction. Otherwise, just hang tight and watch this time lapse, me planting what will end up equaling many, many pounds of delicious food. I got one more to do right here where my camera was, but that is a good deal of tomatoes. These are about 22 inches apart or so. Obviously I didn't measure it, I was just using my shovel kind of as a spacer. It may just be a tad close together, but we're gonna try it. These are gonna be covered, so there's that. So they're not going to be getting rained on a lot, and that helps with blight and lets you kind of push the spacing a little bit on the closer side. For my indeterminates that I do and prune, I space those like 18 inches apart and sometimes even a little closer, but those are pruned down to 1 stem, and so they have airflow, whereas these are not going to be pruned, and so I gave them a little more space. I'm going to go ahead and do this other bed with the other variety. And that's about all the light I'm gonna have. I know this camera is deceiving and sometimes it looks like it's super bright out here and it's not, especially if I'm wearing black. I am gonna say goodbye for now. I know this is not a super long vlog, but sometimes I just gotta get the work done. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I'm so looking forward to our premiere on Tuesday the 27th. I'm really excited to share that with you. And then we can really kind of speak freely about some of our plans, because you'll be in on the loop, and we can move forward. So much of our life right now is being like revolving around this next step, and we're making all of these decisions and we're doing all this stuff. It's affecting how I'm planting the garden. Like I explained on this instance, it'll just be nice to be able to tell you guys what's going on. I bless you. Until next time.